Welcome to all in SV Union High School and Junior College. Today we will learn lesson number 4, Nutrition in Living Organisms. So let's start with the lesson. Students, we get the energy from food which we eat. So here we are going to see the definition of nutrition, the process of taking in and using food which takes place in living organisms is called as nutrition. Students, now let us see need for nutrition. First, to supply the energy required for doing work. Second, growth and development of the body. Third, to replace the damaged cells and repair tissues. Fourth, to fight diseases. Students, we get several types of nutrients from foodstuffs. Nutrients can be classified into two types, macronutrients and micronutrients. So let's study in detail. Macronutrients, nutrients like carbohydrates, proteins and fats are required in large quantity. These are macronutrients. And micronutrients, minerals and vitamins are required in very small quantity. They are called micronutrients. Students, now let's know what is autotrophic nutrition. Some organisms can produce their own food and thus nourish themselves. This is called autotrophic nutrition. Then, heterotrophic nutrition. Some organisms depend on other organisms, plants or animals for their food. This is called heterotrophic nutrition. Autotrophic plants. In this, we'll study in detail about photosynthesis. Plants also need food for their growth. They can produce their own food with the help of sunlight and chlorophyll. Plants make their food in their leaves using water and nutrients from the soil and carbon dioxide from the air. This process is called as photosynthesis. Plants convert light energy into chemical energy and store it in the form of food. Water, minerals and salts are absorbed by roots from the soil. The stem transports them up to the leaves. The leaves have microscopic openings called stomata through which they take in the carbon dioxide from the air. The chloroplast present in the leaves contains chlorophyll, which absorbs sunlight, helping to convert carbon dioxide and water into food. Oxygen is given out in this process. Besides leaves, photosynthesis takes place in some other parts like green stems too, as they contain chlorophyll. Students, let's study about transport system in plants. The transport system of plants consists of the xylem and the phloem. The xylem transport minerals and water from the root to all aerial parts of the plant, and the phloem transports the food like glucose, etc. from the leaves to other parts of the plant, where it is either consumed or stored. Though the plants have a transport system, they do not have a separate digestive or excretory system. Plants produce carbohydrates by the process of photosynthesis. Carbohydrates are made from carbon, hydrogen and oxygen. Proteins are made from carbon, hydrogen, oxygen and nitrogen. Air contains gaseous nitrogen. However, plants cannot utilize gaseous nitrogen. It needs to be fixed, that is, converted into compounds. Fixation of nitrogen occurs by biological and atmospheric method. So, let's study biological fixation of nitrogen. Two different types of microorganisms can bring about biological nitrogen fixation. Root nodules of leguminous plants contain the rhizobium microorganisms. These microorganisms absorb atmospheric nitrogen and convert it into its nitrate, which is a compound. Microorganisms like Azotobacter are present in soil. They also convert atmospheric nitrogen into nitrates. Symbiotic nutrition. In some cases, two or more than two different types of plants live together to fulfill their needs of nutrition, protection, support, etc. with each other's help. This type of nutrition is called symbiotic nutrition. Some fungi grow around the roots of some other plants. These plants supply nutrients to the fungi, and in turn, fungi supply minerals and water to the plants. Some fungi and algae live together. The fungi provides water, minerals as well as shelter to algae. In return, the algae provide food to the fungi. Lichen is an example of symbiosis between algae and fungi. Heterotrophic plants. Heterotrophic plants do not contain chlorophyll. How do the heterotrophic plants live? From where do they get the food? The plants that grow on the body of other plants to obtain food are called as parasitic plants. For example, Loranthus, Cuscuta, etc. Due to the absence of chlorophyll, the Cuscuta is completely dependent on the host plant. Hence, it is said to be a completely parasitic plant. You must have also noticed Loranthus that grows on trees. This is Loranthus and Cuscuta. Insectivorous plants. We have seen how some plants feed upon insects to obtain nutrients. These insectivorous plants generally grow in soil or water deficient in nitrogen compounds. The plant body of the Drosera burmani has a flower-like appearance. It grows close to the ground. Its leaves are attractively pink or red in color with hairs at the margin. Droplets of a sticky substance found at the tips of the hairs attract insects. The scientist Johannes Burman identified this plant in Sri Lanka in 1737. Hence, the plant is named after him. Saprophytic plants. Plants which obtain the food from dead and decaying bodies of other organisms are called saprophytic plants. Various types of fungi like mushrooms and yeast are saprophytes. Fungi secretes digestive enzymes on the dead remains to digest or break down the carbon compounds they contain. The resulting solution is absorbed to obtain nutrients. Students, always remember, food gets spoiled due to some fungi. Some fungi cause diseases or illness, while some fungi have medicinal properties. Yeast and some mushrooms are useful. Yeast is used in fermentation processes and for making bread. Mushrooms are a rich source of iron and vitamins. Students, let us see the chart and study the role of nutrients and the effects of their deficiency on plants. In the chart, first nutrient given is nitrogen. See, its function is important component of proteins, chlorophyll and cytoplasm. What is the effects of deficiency? Retarded or stunted growth. and yellowing of leaves. Now next nutrient is phosphorus. Its function is conversion of light energy into chemical energy. What is the effect of deficiency? Early leaf fall or late flowering, slow growth of roots. Next nutrient is potassium. Its function is necessary for metabolic activities. Effects of deficiency: weak stem, wilting of leaves, failure to produce carbohydrates. Next nutrient is magnesium. Its function is production of chlorophyll, and its effects of deficiency is slow and retarded growth and yellowing of leaves. Next nutrient is iron. Its function is production of chlorophyll. Its effects of deficiency is yellowing of leaves. Next nutrient is manganese. Its function is production of main plant hormones. Effects of deficiency is retarded growth and spotted leaves. Next nutrient is zinc. Its function is production of hormones and their intermediates. Effects of deficiency is retarded growth and yellowing of leaves. Student, hope so through this chart you all must have understood the functions of various nutrients and effects of deficiency. Thank you.